All right. So for those of you guys who are just hopping on, we're covering still on the 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership. So if this is your first time joining us, this is the book we are going off from right here. It is by John C. Maxwell. All right. So for those of you guys who are just hopping on, whoa. Sorry, myself was playing on YouTube in the background. I did not like that. Okay, so 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership. It's the workbook. While I really do love the book and highly encourage you to get it, if you can only afford one or you can only get one or whatever, please get the workbook, because I feel like it is much more tactical and it is much more practical when it comes to helping you understand the laws as well as helping you implement the laws. And one thing that me and my team have been doing is we've been doing a lot of one-to-one Zooms where we are going over some of these laws together, and we're picking some of our weakest areas and our strongest areas, and we're making our goals based on some of those weaknesses and strengths. So if you are not doing that, I highly encourage you to get with, an experienced upline and schedule a one-to-one with them, or maybe, a couple of you guys can get on one with a leader. One way we're keeping track is just kind of, you can do it on a Google Doc or a Trello board or whatever. And so on our Friday goal planning Zooms, this is definitely something that you should be using as like a checkpoint for yourself, going back on those goals that you're making based on the weaknesses and strengths that you are assessing from this book right here, from these laws of leadership. And kind of using it as a way of making goals based on those weaker areas that you want to strengthen, and based on the strengths that you already have that you want to use more of. So we're just going to go right ahead and get into the next laws, if you will, that we are covering. And so law 11 is the law of the inner circle. Okay, so the law of the inner circle states a leader's potential is determined by those closest to him. Okay, and so this is, I'm going to read what he says here. It says, this is similar in effect to the law of magnetism, which says your followers will look like you, right? And maybe not physically, but they reflect who you are and your values that you put out there, and whatever it is that you put out, on the interwebs, on the internet is who you're going to attract. Okay. And it says, except that this says you will begin to look like those whom you surround yourself with. So the law of the inner circle is basically the flip-flop of the law of magnetism, where the law of magnetism is who are you attracting into your inner circle? What kind of promoters, what kind of customers, what kind of people are you attracting? And then this one right here is the law of the inner circle, which is who are you bringing into your life? When we say all the time, you are the sum of the 5 people you hang around with most. Who are those people? Okay. Who are those people? How are they pouring into you? How are they affecting your life? And this is a big thing for a lot of you guys, and you might not even know it. Okay. This could be a big reason why you are feeling stonewalled to getting the things that you want, or feeling capable of going after those things, because the people you surround yourself with just aren't of the same caliber when it comes to being driven, having the same goals, having the same objectives, whatever. This can be team members, it can be family, it can be a spouse, it can be friends. Okay. So you need to be hyper aware of who your inner circle is. Are they cheering you on? Are they driving you closer to your goals? Are they expecting more from you? So I actually did a podcast not too long. Oh, that's not coming up. So I guess you guys have a heads up. I think it comes out tomorrow, but it's called The 7 People You Need to Ditch Immediately If You Want to Have a Happy Life. And we kind of go through the 7 different types of people that are really just sucking your energy and sucking the life out of you. And the types of people that are really hindering your success, joy, fulfillment. Okay. Spoiler alerts are people who are complacent, right? People who are okay with the status quo. And I go into detail about how this is very, very different from people who are grateful for what they have versus people who are complacent and want to stay where they are, because they are fearful of trying new things, or they are okay with things being whatever because it's comfortable. Okay. You don't necessarily want people around you who are okay with settling, because that is a drive killer. And it can be anything, right? It doesn't necessarily mean, oh, everyone around you has to be like, go be a millionaire. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is never settling. Never telling you to accept things that you don't like, telling you to accept things that you know that you're better than, or that you could go get, right? You need people around you that are telling you to go after those things, friends that tell you the hard truths, that don't just tell you what you want to hear, but they say, hey, because I love you, I'm saying this, right? It's like, because I love you and because I care about you and because I want the best for you, I need to tell you this really hard truth right now. Okay. I need to tell you that you need to get your ass moving. I need to tell you that you deserve better. I need to tell you that you can do better, but you're not. Okay. And so making sure, this takes a lot of discernment, a lot of character discernment. And what I mean by that is it takes a lot of practice to understand what types of values, morals, character serve you and which ones don't. And how to differentiate like snakes in the grass, right? So this one does take some practice, but I really want you guys to be mindful of this, because sometimes this right here is what can make or break some people in their journey for success, because the people around them and the limiting beliefs that other people have around you are contagious. People's behaviors, other people's thoughts, and other people's words are contagious like a disease. So if they are being done around you and spoken around you, you are catching it. You just don't know it yet. Okay. It's basically worse than COVID. All right. You're like, you either have it or you got it and gave it to somebody, or you got it and don't know it yet. All right. And so you really need to protect yourself. So law 12 is the law of empowerment. Following closely behind the law of the inner circle is the law of empowerment. This law states only secure leaders give power to others. This means that secure leaders spend their time identifying leaders, building them up, giving them resources, authority, and responsibility, and then turning them loose to achieve. Insecure leaders, on the other hand, spend their time suspicious of those around them, constantly questioning what they do. Caitlin brought this up earlier because in the book he talks about, and I won't go into huge detail because it would be way too time consuming, about Theodore Roosevelt. So I highly encourage you to get this and to read it, because it's a really good example. And so insecure leaders, on the other hand, spend their time suspicious of those around them and do everything they can to either undermine people's potential and growth, or constantly nitpick what they're doing. They're suspicious of why they're doing what they're doing. So it's like, oh, are they after my position? Are they trying to sue my people? Are they trying to do this? Okay. And they are micromanagers. Insecure leaders are micromanagers because they don't trust the people around them to do things as good as they can do, because naturally they believe they are better than the people they are leading, because they know that they are ill-equipped. If they're ill-equipped, it means you're not giving them the tools and resources that they need. Okay, so if your people are not achieving, one of the laws that we learned about, earlier on, is that you need to reflect first on yourself and think, what am I doing? How am I growing? How am I learning? Do I have these tools? Because if I don't have these tools, I can't give them to my other leaders or to my team. Okay. So the best executive is the one who has sense enough to pick good men to do what he wants done, and self-restraint enough to keep from meddling with them while they do it. And that's a quote from John C. Maxwell, the author. And he says this because to keep others down, you have to go down with them. All right. So naturally, when you micromanage and when you cannot trust your team and you are constantly not believing in their abilities, you as a leader drag yourself down because you have to lower yourself to meet them where they are at. And a lot of the times, this is what catches leaders off guard, and they have like no idea that they're doing it because they're so scared to let go of the reins. And then they start blaming their team because they're like, well, if you could just do what I teach you to do, then I wouldn't have to do this. And then they start blaming the team. And then when you start doing that, naturally, you start meeting the team where they're at when it comes to capacity and ability. Okay. And it happens very slowly. And like I said, most of the time leaders don't know it's happening because their mentality is they're stuck in this, I'm doing more than them, I'm better than them, they're just not grasping it, what the heck is wrong with them kind of mentality. So they don't know that they're slowly making that journey downward. And so then John goes on to say, the truth is that empowerment is powerful not only for the person being developed, but also for the mentor. Because when you speak life into others, it naturally speaks life back into you, right? Kind of like if someone else is having a crappy day and you make their day better, somehow your day ends up being better also. Just kind of almost like that law of karma, right? So if you were constantly speaking life into other leaders or other people on your team or just people around you, it in turn empowers you as well, okay? And enlarging others makes you larger. So giving them a bigger platform, giving them more abilities, pouring into them, all of that is reciprocal and comes back, okay? But a lot of leaders kind of get stuck on the me and the I and pour into themselves and hold it all in and kind of just keep to themselves because they expect others to do it as well. And then if they don't, they're like, well, that's on them, okay? So you're not empowering and enlarging your team or your leaders. And so therefore you're not enlarging or empowering yourself in your own capability, capacity, and ability, right? Law 13, the law of the picture. We talk about this a lot, okay? So this does not need a whole lot of explaining, but the law of the picture says, monkey see, monkey do, okay? This may be one of the highest laws in understanding that everything rises and falls on leadership. This is something that we don't really necessarily like to hear, but your business begins and ends with you, not your downline, not your customers, and not your upline. So a lot of people may say, well, my upline sucks, my upline quit, my upline doesn't do this, my upline's not like you, they blah, blah, whatever, right? It is not, your business is not made or broken on your upline or your leadership, because even though it is a continual chain that pours down, we are still our own vessels that can pour out below us. So if you do not have the leadership you want, while that's very unfortunate, right? It's not the end all be all. And so if you are allowing that mentality to kind of take over how you are present in your business, what you do and do not do, your team will take that on as well. Even though you might be thinking, well, I don't have a present leader, and even though I'm really salty about that and I'm having all these feelings, I expect my team not to because I'm still here. It's like, yeah, you're still here, but what are you doing to better the organization that was not left for you? Okay. So monkey see, monkey do. When the leaders show the way with the right actions, their followers copy them and succeed and even do better. Corrupt leaders will turn every leader around them into other corrupt leaders because their own lives demonstrate that it is good and acceptable. So we've talked about this before. Whatever you do, your team will always emulate your worst qualities better than they will your best qualities. So if you are not really good at going live, if you are not good at closing deals, if you are not good at doing Zooms and trainings, your team is not magically just going to go poof and really be good at all of those things. So I know a lot of leaders are like, well, that's just not I just don't like Zooms. I just don't like to train. Well, guess what? You about to have a whole ass team that don't like Zooms, that doesn't do Zooms, that doesn't host Zooms, that doesn't train on crap. And so guess how well you guys will be able to duplicate. Okay. So you're like, oh, I'm really good at this, but I can't get a customer to save my life, or I can't get anyone to VIP, or I can't do whatever. Guess what? A lot of your people are going to struggle with the same thing. The only difference is if you have a freaking unicorn, okay? Is if you got a unicorn that like doesn't need you to show them the way, or that just has that intestinal fortitude to be like, well, if I don't have it, I'm just going to do it anyway, or whatever. So sometimes you can be disillusioned that like just because you have that unicorn that like everybody is like that. Not the case. Okay, learn to recognize a unicorn when you got one. Okay. And so that's just all I'm going to say on that one, is just monkey see, monkey do. Okay. If you want other people to show up, if you want people to get on Zooms, if you want people to make sales, if you want them to make time, if you want them to, take initiative, you have to do all those things. Your chat is dead because for some reason, chatting with you is somehow like whatever, like either you're not in there, you're not present, your team isn't present because somehow you're not present, or your team's not doing this because somehow you're not doing it. Maybe your mindset is crap, so their mindset is crap. And that's a big one that sneaks up on people. A lot of these, if you haven't caught the drift, a lot of them sneak up on people, okay? These flaws of ours are very, very sneaky. So you might be like, I'm in the chats, I'm going live, I'm on every Zoom, but you're like, but so why is my team dead? Why don't I have a team? Why is this happening to me? Well, it could also be that your mindset is absolute poop. And so that is what they're emulating. Remember, whatever your weakness is, whatever your downfall is, that is what your team will emulate tenfold. So it almost doesn't matter that you get on the Zooms and you do this and you do that and blah, 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 blah. That's why my team and I, like, we're working on like a lot of my personals. And so when I say my team, everyone's like, well, I'm not meeting with you one-on-one. But like a lot of the people I've personally enrolled, is we're taking those things, those weaknesses, those laws, if you will, that we're not very strong in, and we're really trying to work on that muscle, because that's the last thing you want to combat, is your team emulating those things that you do that really aren't great habits. Right? And so monkey see, monkey do. That's probably one of the biggest things I can say, is if you don't do any other law, and if you're like, I can't grasp any of these other laws of leadership, this is the one you do. You just do it. Okay, just show up. Just do something. Anything. Doesn't matter. Just anything. Right? I can do something if, Alicia can do something. Tracy can do something with a leader that just shows up. They can be trained. They are coachable. They are willing. They are present, right? If you're someone on the team who can't kick a ball to save your life, but you show up to practice, guess what? The coach can work with you. He can make you a better kicker. But if you don't even show your ass up to practice, how's the coach going to help you with that? Right? Monkey see, monkey do, guys. Law 14 is law of buy-in. Law of buy-in says people buy into the leader and then the vision. Many people who approach the area of vision in leadership have it all backwards. They believe that if the cause is good enough, people will automatically buy into it and follow. But that's not how leadership works at all. People don't at first follow worthy causes. They follow worthy leaders who promote causes they believe in. Okay. And so, Tracy, you want to share it? I can screen share. So,
do you want me to screen share, or are you going to do it?
Oh yeah, I can share with you. Hold on, let me get you. All the way down here. Oh yeah, you're unmuted. Now you're up here. All right, there you go. And so, yeah, you can screen share whatever.
Oh, I don't know how, because it's in my book. I just have it right here.
Oh.
How to do it. But it's got like the leader plus vision equals result. And then
Yeah.
it shows like if you don't buy into your leader and you don't buy into the vision, you're going to get a new leader. Like you're going to leave. You're not going to stay there, right? If you don't buy into the leader, but you buy into the team's vision, you're still going to get another leader because you don't buy into that leader. You don't align with them. If you buy into your leader, but you don't buy into the vision, you're going to get another vision, right? So like as a team, just work on getting another vision, another mission statement, another way that you're running. And then if you buy into both, you're going to get behind the leader. So obviously the goal is to have leadership skills that get people behind you and to have a vision that gets people behind you. That way you have people behind you. I like how he broke it down super simple on Barney style.
Yeah, so essentially it's on page 150 if you have the book. But that's why it's important to get the book because it's really, really awesome. And so the law of buy-in, so people automatically assume that if a person wants to promote, they want to promote because of the compensation plan, because of VIP, because of the getaways, because of the car, because of whatever. And that is their initial peak of it, like that piques their interest initially, that makes them say, hey, I'm open to this. But I want to let you guys know you and who you are and what you have to offer closes the deal. Okay. So a lot of people feel like when people join your team that they're joining the opportunity. And yes, they are. But it is 25% the opportunity, 75% you and the team. And so, oh yeah, I have every book he's ever written. So if that's basically, we're going to go on to John's 2021 is the year of John C. Maxwell. We'll just say that. Okay. Because next we're doing the 5 levels of leadership. So for people who want to like get ahead of the game, you can go ahead and get that, the 5 levels of leadership, which goes after this. He uses the laws and then he's like, okay, we've learned about the laws. Let's now learn about the different levels. So anyway, what I'm trying to say is people buy into you first. So a lot of you guys are disillusioned into believing that like they are only joining the opportunity and that not you. Like you're like, oh yeah, like I'm just the highway to get them to the opportunity. No, you are the vehicle. You are the vehicle that they went to the dealership and chose to drive to get them where they need to go. Okay, so you cannot underperform. You cannot kind of you can't take that lightly. You cannot take that lightly. Yes, it's on Amazon. All of them are on Amazon. Okay, I only shop there. So, remembering that you and your leadership and your team and what you have to offer is most of the reason why they joined. So for people who sign them up and then they're like, here we go, whoop, and they just like leave them, those people will not stay. And if they do, like it says in here, they will find another leader. They will find another leader. If you are not it, they will find another one. Okay. Emily remembers my TikTok, I imagine. So that is what you also have to be careful of, because one day maybe when you do step into leadership and you're like, all right, guys, I'm here. I'm a dope leader. I'm awesome. I've got my shit together. Well, you've already lost a lot of your initial promoters because they now latch onto another leader because you weren't the leader they needed when they were growing. And so they found the vision in this other leader that they found was worthy. And now they're following both of those things, not you. And that's a hard pill to swallow for a lot of people who finally step up into a leadership role, but they realize that they've kind of lost some of their little ducklings along the way. Okay. So remember, do not take that lightly. When you sign on, people are buying into you first, you and the team and the vision. Okay. So when you're making those opportunity slides, you can also don't just talk about what Lavelle offers. Because like we just talked about, that's only 25% of the pie. You and the team are the other 75%. So talk about what you have to offer as a leader, what you and your team have to offer, what we and the team have to offer, our community, our resources, all of that stuff. I see so many opportunity slides out there, you guys, that have nothing to do with you or the team. You don't talk about how we have 11 trainings a week or more. You don't talk about how we have resources up the wazoo. You don't talk about how we do one-to-one Zooms. You don't talk about how we have a badass community of uplifting people. You don't talk about any of those things. And I'll tell you what, that is probably 99% of the reason why people join. That is probably why they join our team over other teams. That's probably why they're going to, join Tracy over so-and-so. That's probably why they're going to, go with Stephanie over so-and-so, because it's just what they offer and the team. So make it most about you and the team, and then a little bit about, hey, when you join us, you also get the opportunity. We are going to help you do these things. We are going to help you get the VIP bonus and the getaways and the cars and blah, 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 blah. Okay. Because they're going to buy into you first, then they're going to buy into the vision. Last is Law 15, the law of victory. So the law of victory states that leaders find a way for the team to win. Every leadership station is different. Every crisis has its own challenges, but I think that victorious leaders have one thing in common. They share an unwillingness to accept defeat. The alternative to winning is totally unacceptable to them. As a result, they figure out what must be done to achieve victory. All right. Oh, sorry. I'm catching up on the chat. Oh, yeah, Tracy. I think I get people in my inbox almost daily. People are in our inbox almost daily that just talk about how they wish they could be on our team, or if they could sign up all over again, they would, or hey, I wish that I found you guys back 5 years ago when I signed on, or oh, I left, and if I ever joined, I'd join you guys, like the team, like whoever it is. And so that's why I'm telling you to first promote you, and then the team, and then the company, right? Then the vision. Sorry, going back to the law of victory. So an unwillingness to accept defeat. I think that people misunderstand this law. People misunderstand this law as being almost like bloodthirsty, and that they want to win so bad at the expense of the team. But remember, we're learning about true leadership. So it's not at the expense of the team. It's using the team to do whatever it takes to win, because you have the tools. And people, if you've done all the things that you need to up until this point, have the drive. They bought into the leadership, they bought into the vision. And so now it's really just relying on that grit. And again, it starts with you. So you have to have this unwillingness to accept defeat. It doesn't mean go whip yourself in your, dark lair because you lost and you're like, I'm unworthy. No, that's not what I'm saying. Okay. Don't lament over not achieving things, but you strive for it as if there were no alternative. Because when that happens, you set a standard, you set the bar, and that is the bar that people look at and go, well, this is as little as we do, which is the most. It's like, but if you're like, if we get it, we do. If we don't, we don't. Whatever. When you do that, you go whoop with the bar. That's fine. If the Olympics, whoop with the bar, I could get on. I could be an Olympian. But America wouldn't win. America wouldn't win any gold medals with me on the gymnastics team. Okay, I'm just saying. But that's why the bar is so high. The minimum is like way more than any average person can do. That is like the minimum that an Olympian is expected to do. but that's why they're all the best of the best, because they have this unwillingness to accept defeat. They're like, we win or die. Okay, that's like what we do. And a lot of them lose, but they come back the next time. They're not like, oh, yep, win or die. Now we got to make good on it. No, they come back. But it's that thought process that really drives them. So if a promo comes out or the getaway or your rank, if it's the first of the month and you're like, you know what? If I'm meant to get 12K, I get 12K. No, you are meant to get 12K. That's why you have the opportunity. So just go freaking get it. There you go. If you're meant for it, go get it. Okay, you're meant for it. Now go. Okay. I don't know what sign y'all were waiting on, but like, here's your sign. You were meant for it. The universe is telling you to go after it. Go. And so you just don't accept defeat. And he says, this is the way a leader thinks who embraces the law of victory. They take responsibility, they get creative, and they throw all of their experience and passion into reaching success. There is a no quit attitude, and failure is not an option. And remember, quitting is the only real failure. Okay, not necessarily giving it your all and falling short. That's not failure. Maxwell quotes the former Notre Dame head football coach saying, you've got to have great athletes to win. I don't care who the coach is. You can't win without good athletes, but you can lose with good athletes. This is where coaching makes a difference. So you can have good promoters, but if you are a crappy leader, your team will not win. Because the players won't know how to play together. They won't know how to play off each other's strengths. They won't know each other's weaknesses. They won't know how to work together to reach the end goal. Hell, they won't know what the end goal is. It'd just be a team full of ball hogs. Okay? And so there are teams here that are just, that's how it is. They're great players. But where's the coach? Where's the coach? Was she sick? Was he on a date? I don't know. Is his favorite Netflix show on? I'm not sure. Okay. So I think the common theme in these ones here is that, well, and really all the laws is that, again, the success of the team rises and sets with you. And what I mean with you is, I mean, your willingness to learn and develop and grow and show up and to teach others to do the same thing, to instill that and expect that of them. Okay. So I hope that you guys found that useful. So next week will be the last week that we are covering the laws. We will finish them up. And I really encourage you guys to, like, if you haven't filled out the survey yet, to really go in and do that, because it is so helpful. I think the meetings that I've had over the last 2 weeks with people, and as we've really like dived into these head first and really dissected them and created goals around them, I feel like it is creating a lot more awareness and forward momentum. And I'm really, I don't know, I'm like really happy with how people are developing, especially as leaders. So yeah, go ahead, Tracy. You can go ahead.
Okay, so for each law, they have like a story for you to read. Like she was talking about how it was talking about the president. Like there's a story in here about Abraham Lincoln. The one on the law of victory is about Hitler, which is crazy. But they have a story that you read, and then they have like an observation spot where you answer questions about the story. So just kind of making sure that obviously your reading comprehension is there and your understanding, it's making you really think about what you read, which is something that I struggle with reading and then just moving along. So I really like that it has that in this so that you can really reflect on what it is that you read. And then it breaks down. So like there's a little like chart or whatever for each one talking about the different important aspects of that law, right? Giving you tips and tricks and all of that. And then it has a discussion spot where you can talk about all of the little like charts that they just went over with you. And then it has an application spot where it's another little section for you to read, and it encourages you to take action. So there's more questions for you to answer. So it's more than just like reading about the laws, right? It's more than just getting on the Zoom and hearing Courtney talk about it. It's so much more than that. Like, it's actually setting you up for success in actually implementing this stuff in your day-to-day, how you're growing as a leader, how you're talking to your customers, how you're talking to your team, and all of that stuff. So I highly, highly recommend getting the actual workbook, not just the book on it. And then actually do the workbook. Don't just buy the workbook and let it sit. Like, do the workbook.
No, exactly. I think like going in and filling them out, it's really good reflection for you. And it really does help to identify some of the ways you can grow, and also identify maybe some of your strengths and how to play into those and how to utilize those more frequently to kind of create some of that behavior momentum. So I really encourage you guys to work on these. And the reason I push leadership and mindset so much is not necessarily because I'm the Zoom speaker, but because I really do think that they are among some of the most crucial topics to really work on. I think just in general in life, especially in entrepreneurship, and most definitely in network marketing. Because when I look at successful network marketing teams, 1000% it is the leadership. When I see that there are teams that are not doing well and teams that are doing well, teams that continue to grow, teams that continue to get awards, not just, hit it and quit at 200Ks that can, grow to 200K and then they're like barely 12K the next, because again, that's on leadership. They're great performers, but they are not great leaders. They are great people. They are people who can produce, but they cannot lead. And that is really why I'm stressing leadership to you guys and developing it, is because it is just so crucial to start establishing now, because the better you are at it earlier on in your journey, the easier it is. And you can start developing other strong leaders earlier on in your journey, so that it's also a lot easier when you have really strong pillars to lean into. It makes your job a lot easier. All right. And then you want to help them establish strong pillars they can lean on too, because if not, that's going to burn you out really fast. Is if you're not developing other leaders, you're not training them, you're not pouring into them, you're not giving them resources, you're not connecting them or plugging them into anything, that's going to be really hard on you, because you're creating people who are dependent on you. They can produce, but they can't lead. And if they can't lead, they can't duplicate. They can't duplicate, they don't grow. And so it really just is this self-fulfilling prophecy of just utter demise. and it's not pretty. I've seen it. I've seen people go from tippy top to like really struggling thereafter. And I just don't want that to be any of you guys. And a lot of people want to blame network marketing. They want to blame the company. They want to blame all kinds of things in the sun, but really it is leadership. It really is leadership and mindset. So, I already kept you guys on here a little bit longer than I intended. This will be on YouTube. This is our first broadcast live, so I know that it stays live for a little bit, and then it will be on the YouTube indefinitely. Hopefully it all works and technology loves us. So for those who were like, when's the YouTube up? Immediately. That's when it should be up, just about like a couple minutes after it's done. So that can be your answer when people ask you. So I love you guys. Thanks so much for having time, making time to get on. And it's Sunday, so close out the week strong, grow those checks for Tuesday, set yourself up for next week, and we